Hi, friends. It's Sarah Keene. It's good to be with you again today. And it's a very special full moon, a very special week where we have this amazing doorway, energetic doorway open to higher timelines and to new beginnings. Let me explain that to you. But first, let me take a moment just to remind you that this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, I have a new set of classes starting. The art and writing class is going to help you learn how to channel messages from your guides, to be in channeling energy and to experience that. And the psychic intuition and psychic development class is going to help you to understand how your intuition is working in a whole new way for you and allow you to be really confident in communicating with your guides and other people's guides as well. So please join those classes. And there's 4 classes each, and we're going to have a great month of getting to know ourselves in a whole new way. And it's perfect to help line us up for the new energies that we're moving into. Okay, let's talk about today. We have a very special full moon, and it's behaving as a doorway into new higher timelines for us. And what's different about this amazing moment and this doorway, I called it a portal last week, and portal, doorway, ipso facto, it's still working in the exact same way. We are moving into a whole new way of expression. And what feels different about this particular moment is that these timelines that we're able to access, it feels as though we're moving up into them without the variance of dipping down into quite as much of the old timelines. It felt like for a while we were kind of riding the fence and keeping one leg on both sides just in case. We didn't want to leave the other people that were in our life behind, but we also want to move forward. And this time it actually feels like those old portals are just they're dissolving. And when the spirit guides show me this old dissolving, the old timelines dissolving, they're saying that it's part of this collapsing of the old blueprints that many light workers came in on. If you could imagine, you came in supporting certain types of work that needed to be done. And now as we've made it through this threshold, humanity has made it through a higher threshold that at the time when we were born, maybe we were going to make it, maybe we weren't. And so we've made it. And so now as we've made it through this really important threshold for our consciousness awakening, we are now able to let go of those old forms of how we viewed ourselves, how we expressed ourselves, and also all of the intense karmic contracts and agreements and experiences that we went through in other past lives. So it's almost as though those old imagine like old train tracks that you used to have traveled on, and those train tracks are just dissolving away. This actually gives us a lot more freedom moving forward because we don't have the old stuff anchoring us down. And that's what's really beautiful about this moment in time, is that as we walk through this portal and doorway into the higher timelines right now, we are allowing ourselves to let the old blueprint fall away, so we aren't getting anchored as much and falling back into the old ways of being. Okay, so how do you do that? Okay, I mentioned last time, if you're noticing triggers come up, pay attention to those triggers. That's some of the old blueprint stuff falling away. It's like old realities bleeding into this one. And when we notice that, if you can just stop for a second, pause, try not to react in the same way that you used to react. That's what's going to break that cycle. That's what's going to put you into a whole new way of being, is that you're letting go of the old patterns, behaviors, and the ways that you used to react that anchored you into the old train tracks. So when you notice that you have this trigger, or someone's triggering you, or you have this thing that you're going through in your head, if you can say, okay, how would I have handled that before? Would I have gone into anger? Would I have gone into self-pity? Would I have gone into feeling guilty or shame? what is that old heavy way of being, way of feeling, the old emotion, which, 9 times out of 10 is probably something that wasn't a good feeling. So if you would have dipped down into that, that's what glued you back into that. So if you go, okay, I recognize that that is the old way of being, and I don't consent to that anymore. I'm not living in that way anymore. I'm going to act or react in a different way. I'm going to move into a different way of being and acting and feeling. And I'm going to have compassion for myself in that moment. And I'm going to stop blaming myself and being mean to myself about what I should or shouldn't have done. Or if somebody else was involved, okay, like I'm done with that. And now I'm stepping into, how do I start changing my attitude? How do I start changing my emotions? And continue to keep those steps going. It's going to take a little bit of consistency to stay in these higher timelines for a moment. It's not a like one and done thing, I don't think. I think that we have a time to kind of refine as we go through. So I think that this doorway of the full moon tonight really offers us an opening to that new way of being. And then if we can keep refining those new habits, it's going to be important. Okay. So if you can try to figure out some consistency in those new actions or new emotions, if you can do that, that would be great right now. Okay, guys. So when I asked my guys, I was like, why does this full moon feel so special? Why does it feel like it's such a big deal? And what I understood was that the moon represents an open window to our next level of tomorrows. There's a planetary alignment that is changing our cosmic expression. It's moving us from beneath the veil to above it. And this means that we will now start to be aware of our galactic brothers and sisters on a whole new level. It means that communication with our soul is much easier. It means that we are not going to be looking for answers on computers. We're going to have a knowingness inside. Not that, you can't look for an answer, but there's going to be an inner knowing about whether that resonates with you or not. And it's going to feel different now. Okay. You're going to be turning inward for a deeper message from the soul. And that's what's different about this time. And believe it or not, this moment in time was laid out, according to the guides, it was laid out millions of years ago. And we're stepping through that doorway right now that allows us to feel even more connected to soul. What they showed me was that there was kind of this experimental time space that they created. And it's almost like this box where they created this earth and the sun and the galaxy and all of the stars, and this way of being where all of these beings would come and have this experiment. There would be a way to have hybrids. There would be a way to experience emotions. There would be a way to help souls wake up that maybe didn't have that connection to source themselves. They didn't know that was like, they had lost that connection somehow, or they didn't have it. And so helpers came in and they started helping. And there's this whole experiment going on in this time space. And I think of it like, when I see it, it looks like a box in the middle of time space. And when they show me this veil falling away, it's like those rigid boundaries that kept us in this experiment for eons, and that those veils are falling away. And so as they fall away, it means that now we have access more easily to our galactic selves, to our soul groups, to the people and the souls that we've been working with from before we decided to help out with this experiment. And we kind of got, put into this loop here. And that experiment, because there's enough of people who have awakened and understand who they are, we have made it through that entry into the next level. The veil can come down. So that's what's really special about this time. But when I feel into it, it actually feels like And I don't know a ton about astrology. Like when I look at astrology, I try to look at what is really happening out there and what astrologers are saying. I'm not an astrologer. I feel into it intuitively. And what I feel like is there's this cosmic alignment of planets, the veil coming down, and now that cosmic alignment can actually penetrate this area, and the souls can actually move into harmony or synchronize with all of the other planets, all of the universes, all of the galaxies. It was almost like we were locked in this little time space, and it was like something special that we didn't have access and alignment with everything else that was going on. It just kept us in this little like box. And now that box is dissolving, we're moving into alignment with everything else. And so we're getting upswept into that consciousness raising as well. So today on this full moon, you are going to be encouraged by spirit teams to write out what you would like to happen in your life. What would you like to see if you were going to move into the flow with space and time and this planetary alignment? What things would you like to commit to that would change your karma, change your life, change your way of looking at things and your emotions? What are the old agreements that you're letting go of? And what new habits are you wanting to move into? Write it all out. Try to be clear about what it is that you are committing yourself to. I would like this or something even better. And you can bring it in the most magical, unexpected ways. Feel free to wow me, spirit team. Feel free to level up in the most miraculous ways, soul. So write it down. And then if you can, if you're in a space where there's, not fire danger, have a little burn ceremony and then spread out the ashes and put this out. My guides are showing me like a little process of writing all this down. What am I letting go of? What am I moving into? What am I committed to? What would I love to see my life look like? Burn it, spread the ashes, and then they encouraged us to connect with 432 hertz. And that is a heart connection energy frequency. And they said, move back into the heart, return to the heart energy, think and feel what it would be like to have that life, and push away any feelings of doubt or smallness. Just imagine what it would be like if there were no boundaries and no limits. Like, how would that life feel? And they said, you're sending out that frequency, that request to the universe. And if you can, return to that practice of putting on the 432 hertz. I like the hemisync, the frequencies that kind of help you sync up. I like the golden ratio is what I've been listening to recently. But if you can listen to something like that and just be in your heart space and imagine what it feels like, what it looks like, what it is like, you are sending that ripple out to the universe, and it is going to start to want to answer you back. You are training the atomic particles and the subatomic particles, and those subatomic particles are responding to your thoughts, wishes, and dreams, and your inner desires, what your inner emotions are, and so you're changing that blueprint. So this is the time. Change your blueprint right now and seal the deal. Okay, beloveds? So remember that our capacity to change is directly linked to how much truth we can face about ourselves and about how we need to change and the things that we need to do to change our lives. It's time to dive deep into our truth and serenely stand in that power. Okay, so I wish you the most wonderful full moon energy. I wish you an amazing doorway energy, and I hope that you have a lovely week. And I'd love to see you in classes, so take care. I will send out another newsletter next week. Take care.